Would you like to reduce your anger and how angry you get with people? Hi, it's Jen here, the editor of menPsyche, and today going through a question from a reader in relation to how to reduce his anger with other people. Now, we've had a couple of responses from our readers, and the first one was a great tip in relation to removing yourself from the situation. Now, this is, of course, easier said than done. It obviously depends on the situation, but he recommended that he likes to consciously try to walk out the door if that's appropriate, maybe go into another room, get a drink of water, and perhaps, depending if it's at work, maybe go out and go to the cafeteria or another room. Something like that. So I think that makes a lot of sense actually, because sometimes the anger can increase intensity the longer it goes. So actually being conscious, if you can, and removing yourself from the situation is one way to reduce your anger with people, or your reaction anyway. Another answer we had was the person had found brisk exercise as a great way to burn off that excess energy, perhaps anger throughout the day caused by work or an interaction with someone, or an expectation that had not been met, or whatever the reason. So brisk exercise, obviously something running, jogging, bike riding, whatever you've got available to you. If at the very least you could just go for a walk if that's available to you, the weather permitting. I think that makes a lot of sense. We also had a response in relation to someone who liked to research the cause. They wanted to understand why they were having emotional outbursts. What was the reason behind the emotional outburst? Why were they reacting like that? Was it normal? And they went to a therapist in this case, specialised in anger management and that sort of thing, and found that obviously anger is an emotion and a reaction that people have, and it's not necessarily bad. It's just more like how you direct that anger, how you respond to that underlying feeling. In his case, he said that after doing some therapy or counselling, that it was in fact a lack of his ability to convey his needs. So what was happening was he was unable to tell people what he needed or wanted in a particular scenario. Let's say he was unable to convey his feeling towards something, maybe simple as he could not tell people what meal he wanted or what TV show he wanted to watch. But after some time, those sorts of things build up because you're not expressing your emotions and your wishes. So that, in his case, was the thing that was leading to his outbursts. He was expecting others to read his mind. And his counsellor worked through this with him, giving him some new skills to actually be able to convey your needs. It's not as simple as it sounds, because many of us, you may relate to this, we grow up and we're conditioned to respond in a certain way to get a certain response. So we may observe our parents, or we may model the people around us, and we watch how they get their needs met. And they may do a variety of different things to get their needs met. And it may not be being straightforward verbally. It may not be being able to ask for what you want directly. Now, this can cause problems later on, because if you move out of your family circle and you're meeting other people now, you're expecting them to understand your communication, and you're not actually verbalizing it directly, or you're not able to communicate effectively or healthily. You can see where this could lead to some problems with communication. So I thought that was a good response, seeking professional help in this case, because sometimes we can't really get to the underlying cause of things all by ourselves, although I do try to do that myself. So I hope that was helpful today. Just a few options for people who are having difficulty with anger and anger responses. So we had remove yourself from the situation if at all possible, brisk exercise or some sort of brisk type activity. Mowing the lawn would probably be one of them, and also have a look at the underlying cause. So check some professional advice there at counselling. I will direct people who would like to read a little bit more about this to our website, The co-founder, Harsh, has written an article there about what he did in his particular case to work on this issue. And we can also direct you to just some general resources online. I think if you check our resources guide, we have 150 resources, including crisis resources, anything from books, mentors, influencers, mental health, divorce, fathers, all sorts of topics for men. We have a link to that below as well in the caption for those who are interested. And there was, I think, from memory on that list, a recommendation for a couple of services. This was an Indian resource guide, a couple of services where the counsellors provided anger management as part of their service. So for those of you struggling with this issue, I hope there's a few little answers there for you that might help. And feel free to leave any advice or tips below for other people. That's really helpful, and we really appreciate that. Thanks for your time. Please join us at menPsyche.com for more conversations, questions and answers. We hope to see you there.